Have you ever wanted to play the guitar? I've been teaching myself how to play for about a year and a half now, and I would like to show you the basics. So today I will show you some basics and important aspects of playing the guitar, such as the strings, how to tune it, and the different methods and notes that can be played. First of all, a normal electric guitar has 6 strings, and they all have unique characteristics. The guitar strings would go in order from the low E to the A, D, G, B, E. I guess high E, because there's 2 E's. There's the low E and the high E at the bottom. Each string has its own string gauge. String gauge is basically the thickness of the string, and the string gauge is based off the highest string at the bottom. My favorite type of string gauge are 10s. This is what a pack of strings would look like. It only has 1 string in it, so this 10 would be the high E. Then it would keep on going down to 13, which is the B, to 17, which is the G, to 26, which is the D, 36, which is A, and 46, which is E, or low E. The string gauges make it harder to play the higher the string gauge. So if you had like a string gauge of 90, it would be really hard to play, while the opposite can be said for lower string gauges. It makes it easier to play, but also the strings are a lot less flimsy, so I guess it also makes it harder to play. My preferred strings brands are called Ernie Balls. These are the only ones I've ever used, so that's why I prefer them. Another thing to talk about the strings are how dirty they can get. When you're playing for a while, your hands are sweating. That sweat will combine with all the dead skin, and it clumps up on all the strings, which is disgusting, and it makes your strings all discolored, and it makes it sound worse. So changing your strings is important. You probably want to change them every 2 months. Second of all, guitars can be tuned down to different pitches to make different sounds. A normal electric guitar has these things called tuning pegs on the headstock, which are right here, these pegs. I guess the default tuning would be E standard, which is what I'm in, which is just E, A, D, G, B, E. But tuning down gives it a heavier sound. So some other tunings, some famous tunings are drop D, which is just taking this first peg and tuning it down to D, and the rest stay the same. You would tune your guitar down using this little tuner. You turn it on, put it on the headstock, and play the string until the light matches up. Some other tunings are D standard, which is just D, G, C, F, A, D. You're all tuning it down 1 step. That's what it's also called. D standard is 1 step down, or full step down. Another popular tuning is E flat, or half step down, which is just tuning it down to a half step. So it would be D sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp. Some famous bands that use these type of tunings, like Metallica and a lot of the mainstream hard rock bands and metal bands, typically use E standard tuning, while some other bands like Pantera and Slipknot and Slayer will use drop tunings like D standard, half step down, even drop A and drop C, which is just really low and heavy, which is what Slipknot is known for. Other way of changing your tuning is by replacing your pickups. Pickups are right here in the middle of the body. There's 2 different type of pickups. There's single coil pickups and there's humbuckers. I prefer humbuckers because humbuckers give a lot crunchier sound and heavy sound, which is what I like, while single coils are a lot smoother and crispier. The way coils work is they convert the vibration of the strings into electrical signals, which are then sent to a guitar amplifier if you're using one. If you're not, it just makes a dull sound. Changing the guitar pickups can increase the quality of your guitar as well, and it's a lot cheaper than just going out and buying a $1,000, $2,000 guitar just for different pickups. So you can just change yours and get more quality out of it. The final way to change your sound is by plugging a guitar into an amp or a guitar pedal. A guitar amp, like said in the previous statement, was it just converts the strings and the pickups into like an amplifier, like a big speaker. And when you play it like this, it just converts the sounds into a lot of noise. Many amps will have different settings as well, such as delay, which if you just hit the string, it'll take a second then make the noise, which is a really weird effect, but it's cool. There's distortion, which is what I always use, which is what's on now. It just makes it a lot heavier. There's reverb, which is really hard to explain. I don't really use reverb, I just turn it on a little bit. And then there's overdrive, which is just like distortion, but just toned down a lot. It makes it a lot less heavier. And there's also pedals, which kind of looks like this. This is one of my pedals, where you push it down to activate it. And it's a lot more versatile than the amp. There's different types of effects for pedals. There's fuzz, there's clean, and delay, and stuff like that. What makes it easier is instead of going up to your amp and changing the settings, you could just click down on it like this, and it would turn the sound down. So if you wanted to play a clean part of like a song, you click down on your clean pedal, and then make the sound clean. And you want to go back to a lot heavier, like overdrive, you click it back on, and it would go back to overdrive or distortion or whatever. This pedal right here is called a wah pedal. It's kind of hard to explain what it does because it's in the name. A wah, it makes like a wah sound. A lot of famous musicians use this, like Jimi Hendrix and Kirk Hammett from Metallica. Lastly, there are hand movements that can be done to make your playing even more interesting. So let's start with the basics. These metal bars, you can see them. These are called frets. A guitar normally has 21 to 24 frets. So like first fret, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and it would keep on going. And also there's like these dots. You can see them like right here and here. Those signal like what fret you're on. So the first dot is the third fret, and that goes up to the 5th, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21. Well, mine's not a 24 fret guitar, but it would go up to 24. So if you want to play, let's say like a 4, you would look, here's 5, go down, there's 4. If you want to play 10, here's 9, go up, there's 10. Or if you want to play 11, there's 12, go down 1, that's 11. So the dots really come in handy when you're playing. Now, some hand movement techniques we can do. The first one is called a hammer-on, which you put your finger on one note and then you hammer onto the other one with your other finger. That's a hammer-on. The opposite is called a pull-off, which you put your finger on 2 notes and then just pull it off. There's also slides like this. You just play and then slide your finger down the strings. There's pick slides, which is just using your pick to slide instead of your finger. You can also add your finger to it. There's trills, which is just repeatedly tapping on the note. There's alternate picking, which is just going up and down. There's down picking, which is going down. There's muted notes, which you put your finger very lightly on a string and it mutes it like that. So this is playing it normally. This is muted. Then there's palm muted, which is muting it with your palm. There's power chords. And there's bar chords, which is barring your finger all the way across. And there's a more advanced technique called a pinch harmonic, which is just a squeal noise. So as you've learned, playing seems like a lot of work, but understanding how the strings work, the different tuning styles, and the different ways to get sounds, and different methods of playing will get you very far in your learning process. Make sure to constantly practice for at least 2 hours a day to keep making progress, and take your finger calluses, because when you play for long periods of time without your calluses, it hurts. So getting your calluses will make you able to play longer and practice longer. That concludes my speech about the basics of guitar, and I hope you consider playing one day.